What is going on, everybody? We're back at it with another episode, of course. So, before we get into it, guys, you give me a huge favor. We're so close to hitting 300. We're only 14 subscribers away. Please share the link. Share the link. Have people subscribe. That's all I'm asking. Subscribe. It's all the little thing I'm asking. So, do me a favor. You can hear me. Hit the one button. It'll be sound effect, I guess. So, you guys know me by now. I'm a huge WWE fan. To the point that... Oh, hang on 1 second, guys. I gotta see what's going on. So, one of our kids is having issues coming on. So you guys know I'm a big WWE fan, but what makes a WWE superstar a superstar? Like myself.
This is Sparta!
A good theme. That's what you need. You need a good theme song because you want to hear when you hear the Rock's music going, hits and you get excited. You go, holy shit, that's him! I remember when Goldberg came back from wrestling, and it was exciting. All right, let's get this guy in here. Let's see if he has his technical issues. Oh, I lost him already. Okay. Let's finish with that. I remember when Goldberg first came back to the WWE. WWE just went out of business not too long ago. All of a sudden, hear his music, and then you see him with the leather jacket coming out. I'm like, holy shit! The music got you a goosebump. You're jumping up the seat. I mean, holy shit! It was something that blew my mind immediately. It was one of those things like, yo, okay, now shit got fucking real. Simple as that. It got fucking real. The music of a wrestler could make him or break him, in my personal opinion. And of course, we have Cash as always coming in. Cash, what's going on, my man? So, as I was saying, I personally believe the wrestling theme song could make or break a wrestler. Because you want to hear that boom, and you jump out of your seat, you're like, holy shit, that's him. And that's the point of a theme song. You want to hear that person. You want to get excited. You want to get goosebumps. There's some theme songs like, come on now. You gotta admit it, you cannot remember. Alright. So that problem is fixed. Our one guest will be on in a minute. He's just fixing his microphone problem. So we're going to have a great show with one of our new guests. So... And I got a story to tell you guys about him in a little bit. All right. So, let's say hi to Mariana. She's in-house. Okay, I have a question from Cash and Mariana. WWE, WWF, or WCW? Any of those three promotions you guys remember as growing up? Was one theme song? It could be two or three, whatever you want to put down in the chat. I'm cool with it. Give me a theme song that you guys remember. Every time you heard it, you jump up and down in your seat like, holy shit, he's back. Or stuff like that. And I'm also, right now, I am dropping the link. So whoever wants to come in, you're welcome to come in. So I remember a couple of theme songs. Let's go back. Let's go back. Let's go back from the 80s. I remember hearing... The Undertaker song. I used to be terrified of him. Every time you hear the bell goes out, dong, and the thunder going off, like I used to be scared shitless of him. That's how bad I hit. I used to I had to run out of the room. That's how bad I was scared of him. It was like, oh, he's back. Ooh. Now as an adult, when I hear his music, ooh, it's some shit going down. I remember when he switched to the American Badass theme. Oh, wow. That was a good one. American Badass. Oh, man. It was great, actually. I remember Limp Bizkit's song, hearing the bells going on. And you go, how would it go? Dead Man Walking. And he's driving his motorcycle down. Like, that was some crazy shit. All right, I got points out from Mariano now. So Hulk Hogan and HBK Shawn Michaels. Okay, let's talk about Hulk Hogan for a minute. Hulk Hogan, absolutely, I'm not denying. Why is Link is giving issues to everybody tonight for some reason? So everybody's having a problem with these links. So any of my guests are watching this, please hit the link. I have it in the chats. For some reason, it's giving us a lot of issues tonight. Maybe because it's raining up here. I don't know. Let's go with that. So hopefully, Paul should be in a minute, and our other guests are gonna be in a minute. Hopefully, it's not something too serious. Hopefully, it's not a StreamYard restream. Up there, you guys want guy. Let's get him
There
in here.
we go.
Yeah, there we go. We got it fixed. Let's get his ass in here. Well,
All right.
all right, we got the famous Mark in the house here. Mike,
What's going on?
I don't have sound effects for you, but it was been a while, brother. How you been, first of all?
I've been doing good, enjoying this Florida lifestyle, man. It's
No,
good down here.
let me ask a question. Did you bring him on too? You know who I'm talking about? Your neighbor.
Oh, my neighbors down here, they're all on to a lot of different things. But the cool thing is, based on what we came to talk here about tonight, I'm only an hour and 10 minutes from the training headquarters, which is even more exciting because if I want to go check out like a live training, they actually have certain days where they allow like public
Oh,
to go
that's
in to
cool.
see.
Yeah. So before you continue, let me get the other guy in here. Let's get his theme song on. We are talking about Mr. President. How are we doing tonight?
Doing well. Good to be with you, gentlemen, tonight.
Good, good. So, Mark, we talked about this before. I asked you to bring Hulk Hogan. He's your neighbor, man.
I know. No, my daughter got to meet him a couple weeks ago, which was really cool, and he was really sweet. There were a bunch of people rushing up to him. He was with like 3 or 4 other guys, 2 who were like I guess in the lower circuits wrestling, like training in the area with him, and we waited a little bit, and after like 3 people bum rushed him, he was right outside the spot, ready to get in his car, and one of the other guys came up to him. He said, "Hulk, hold on. She's been waiting for you." He goes, "Oh, come here, little girl," and he got her next to her and gave her a hug and took a picture with her. He was really cool about it.
Yeah, when you
So,
sent me that, I was like, oh, man, that's freaking cool. I'm not going to lie.
yeah,
I
it
heard
was really
mixed
neat.
rumors. Yeah, I heard mixed rumors about him. I heard he's really sweet or really could be a little hard ass sometimes.
No, he was a gentleman. He was really, really cool. Like everything I've heard, he was always a good fan person, you know.
Yeah,
But you can always catch someone on an off day. That's just how it is in life. So,
absolutely. Like we have good days and bad days. They're human, and they gotta remember they're human beings like us. So they have family problems. They might have a problem with their wives or kids.
and
Or
Hulk
have
Hogan got no
fights.
shortage of family problems.
Yeah,
His son's always in some shit.
that's a topic for another episode. Paul, you're up, my man. Theme
That's
songs.
good.
Come on, man. What you got in your mind?
I'm just happy to be in the playhouse, in the hangout. Just again, nice meeting you. Heard a lot of good things about you. So
Thank you,
just
sir.
looking just to chop it up and see where the conversation goes. We're not scripted here. So what
So,
you got?
Paul, what era of wrestling did you grow up in?
Honestly, I grew up in the late '70s, so I was WWF.
Oh, okay.
First champion that I remember was Superstar Billy Graham when he beat Bruno Sammartino. I remember Bob Backlund when he was on the come up, when he was being groomed, when he won the championship in February of 1978.
So you were
So,
watching all the gymnasium like wrestling matches back in the day.
Absolutely. Well, Allentown, they did a lot of their tapings out of Allentown, PA, and the show would come on. It was on WOR TV, Channel 9 in New York. And it would come on at midnight, and it was I remember that because one of the few times my mom would let me actually stay up long enough to watch the midnight shows. So it was an odd time slot until maybe by like 82, 83, they started having like a Saturday afternoon.
You're giving away your age now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm Gen X all the way, so I don't hide that at all. But certainly I grew up certainly in the Bob Backlund era, and also my favorite wrestler at that time was the Superfly.
Oh, Jimmy Snuka. There
So
you
I
go.
remember when he jived off the top rope when Don Morocco in the Garden, and the place just popped. I never recall seeing a pop like that before.
And that was one of the first times anyone did something like that, which
Correct,
was
correct.
also
Well, he
huge.
did it. He tried to do it to Bob Backlund once, but he missed.
Mm-hmm.
But this one he he landed it, and it just popped. And then I remember hearing a story from Roddy Piper later on that actually one of the main reasons he was brought in was to bring down Jimmy Snuka, because there was also the plan for Hogan to come in. So he comes in early '84, but they couldn't take the pop off Snuka at '83. He was like the most popular wrestler, arguably, certainly in the Northeast. I wasn't a big follower of NWA at the time or the other territories, and they couldn't get the pop off him. So Piper was basically brought in to bring him down, bring a notch. So it paved the way for Hogan to ascend to the title. So yes, I remember those days certainly with fondness, and I probably followed wrestling up until probably '87 when I went to college, and then I was kind of in and out. So from that point on, I'd be in it for a minute, I'd pull out, I would go and do watch other venues. So I even today I'm kind of in and out with it. My youngest daughter, she's really into wrestling, and I know last year we went to a Friday night SmackDown at the Garden here in the city, and so they'll bring me in for a minute, and then I may go out and come back. So I'm not as consistent as I used to be with the wrestling, but certainly I remember all the major events up through probably up through '89 with the WWF, and then I had a friend of mine who was a huge NWA guy. Now I hadn't really no contact with the NWA, so he got me on to the NWA Saturday night on the Superstation WTBS. And so I remember starting in '85 and '86, we would hang out at his place every Saturday night and watch the
Just get together and have some fun.
Yeah, and we just watched those cards. So he got me onto that, and again, so I was going back and forth between the NWA at the time and WCW, and then back to WWF, because I thought at that time they kind of got a little goofy, with the this is before the Attitude Era, so they had like Doink the Clown and the Gobbledygooker, and this was all those silly.
Doink the Clown, man.
It did. So they had all
He
like
could
these
seriously
silly.
wrestle, though. That was the funny thing about him, though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was
So,
nasty.
I got
but
a funny story for both of you guys. Okay, you guys, do you remember Frank the Clown? Not Donk the Clown, Frank the Clown. There's two different guys. Do you guys remember?
Yeah.
Nah.
Frank the Clown, it's a funny story. He became a doctor, actually. So one day I walk into his doctor's office, and somebody highly recommended this doctor. It's Frank Romascaris is his real name. I'm walking in, and I'm like, the fuck is this shit? Rushed to memorabilia everywhere in his office. I'm like, he walks in, long hair down to here. He goes, sweatpants, knowing the opposite of a doctor. Scruffy beard. He goes, "What's up, my man?" I'm like, the fuck is this shit here? So I'm talking like, dude, what's up with the wrestling? Are you a huge wrestling? Nope. He goes, what's up with it? And I go, I used to be a wrestler. Like, no, you didn't. Like, yes, I have. Like, come in my office. He's showing me all this stuff. And when he was in Frank the Clown, I'm like, you're Frank the fucking Clown. He goes, yes, I'm Frank the fucking Clown. He goes, just like that, he curses and everything. I'm like, you're the opposite of any doctor I've ever seen. He goes, that's the point. I'm not orthodox. I don't give a shit. He goes, he's throwing shit right and left, and cursing other nurses. And I'm like, but he was one of the greatest doctors my mama ever had. Right. That was in Effort, not too far from where me and you used to live, Mark, when you were down here.
Yeah.
It was like he was a really good doctor. When I heard this, like, holy shit! It blew my mind when I found out he was a doctor. But let me ask you guys a brief question here, really fast. So if I tell you guys, give me one or at least three, if you want. You don't have to give me one. I know it's kind of hard. The most iconic theme song that comes to your memory from yay back in the day when you were a kid all the way to now. Which one do you come up with, and why?
Oh wow!
Stone Cold, hands down. Because when he came in, you knew he was about to be brought to the ring.
The glass breaking.
You heard the glass break. You knew the whole. You know what you were saying about Jimmy Snuka lighting up the Garden, doing all that.
Yeah.
Like Stone Cold, anytime throughout the '90s to mid 2000s before he retired, you hear the glass break. You knew the show was about to start. Like, it doesn't matter how many hours you're into a show. When that glass broke, something crazy was about to happen. and he always put on a show.
Right.
That's why I think almost every wrestling site has him top 3 rated of all time, but he just had a different pop that drew fans in. That theme music was it was really like got the hairs on your skin rolling. You were ready to see it. You were ready to hear it, and you were just waiting for him to run into the ring one way or another.
Right.
Most likely kicking Vince McMahon's ass all over the freaking TV. That was the best part about it. Seeing him kick his own boss's ass was like hilarious. I thought.
Wow.
Paul, which one you?
That's it. It like I said, it depends on. Now, mind you, I'm in the era before they had theme music.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't
I was
playing.
going to say, yeah, you came before they had a lot of this TV.
Correct. So honestly, the first time I remember hearing theme music was actually in the NWA. Again, those NWA Saturday night shows. So I remember probably my favorite at the time, and still one of my favorites, was the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette would come out and said, "Beautiful Bobby and Sweet Stan, the Midnight Express," and then you would hear the music coming, dun 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 dun. So that always kind of got me going, even though there was no crowd or pop or whatever, but it was just so iconic, when that music came on. So that was big, and I have to admit, I'm one of the original Hulksters. I was a Hulkamaniac.
American Dream, baby.
So when Real American came on, dun 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 dun, and then the crowd would pop. When you used to watch Saturday Night Main Event, when it was starting in 84, 85, and it was on when he came. Well, first he came out to Eye of the Tiger, so that was like his first. Came out with Eye of the Tiger, but that was kind of that was back then. It was actually they were.
He did the movie, wasn't it?
What? Yeah, he did. Well, he did. Rocky 2 was 82, and I don't know. I know he was in AWA at the time. No, it was 82.
What was the other movie he did? I think that they had that as a theme. It was the arm wrestling movie. That
was over the top with that was 85. Was still on.
Still no.
I think it's a movie called.
Yeah, but that was still on. That was 85. But no, I don't recall if he used it in AWA because he was in AWA at the time. Rocky 2 came in. In fact, he left WWF at the time because McMahon didn't want him to do the Rocky movie. So he went to AWA, and I think Hulkamania actually kind of started in the AWA. Yeah. But I don't know if he used that thing, but I know when he first came to WWF 84, he used Eye of the Tiger, and but Real American, that because remember they also had a deal. It was NBC, but it was also Friday Night Videos. So Real American was actually they turned it into a music video, and that was like one of the first rock wrestling, that whole rock wrestling collection, and then they had Cyndi Lauper and all that. So they combined all that together. So Real American was certainly it's sort of a big deal at the time. Then they started coming out with other theme songs and whatnot at the time, but really it was NWA. With their guys. I remember the Freebirds, Bad Street, USA. They had their song they would come out to and whatnot. So I kind of go back to those times. But as far as new guys, I remember I like Kofi Kingston's song. I like John Cena. You can't see me. When his song came out, that was kind of because I was weird because my kids, they were like I said they've kind of been in and out of wrestling also. But I remember like we would be driving somewhere. And I would play the song. I had the song list on, so I would play it. And then we all in the car, and my girls are rapping the song and whatnot. So we were just having a good time just with the but we had all that. We had, Fandango. When he came on, we were doing the hand things or whatever. Yeah. I just had, long road trips and whatnot. I would just put on the WWE playlist, and we would just have just have a good time, just going down the road, singing the songs.
Macho Man, Randy Savage, graduation themes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
So
that's one.
Used Eye of the Tiger from 83 to 85. So he used it for 2 good years.
Mm-hmm.
Then he switched to that's what. So the second thing I was going to mention was I know you guys talked about Allentown before. They started, and I think most of you guys know this already. They started recording old WWE stuff, live events at Allentown because of how cheap it was. So that's why a lot of wrestlers lived in Allentown area for a long time.
Right.
It was dirt cheap to do it up here.
Yeah.
So, and there were some theme songs, like even to this day, you hear it and you go, oh shit, here we go again.
Yeah.
It's time to hit it. It depends on the era for me. So I would probably say Hogan and Ultimate Warrior in the 80s. Now
Mhm.
towards the '90s is I gotta go with my boy Goldberg. Goldberg usually you hear
That
the
was
music.
pretty wicked. Yeah,
It
See,
was
but you know
Goldberg's
what, Goldberg, the only thing about him, he had a great theme song, but really what set him off when he walked out on stage and you saw the fireworks just go left to right
yeah,
and
yeah,
him lighting it up. It was for him, the pop was really more of him coming out to the fireworks
exactly.
before his theme music started. If you
Yeah.
want to talk about theme music, though, that actually was the pop, you talk about someone like Chris Jericho when he came out. Chris Jericho
yeah,
didn't even walk out until Break the Walls Down
yeah,
came out,
Yeah.
and then you
yeah.
saw the firework wall, and
Right,
then that. Or like someone else, like talk about Degeneration X.
One
That
of my
was a
favorite
that was a
ones.
pop that everyone knew. They were like, "Oh my God, some goofy shit's about to start."
yeah,
DX is coming out.
yeah,
The Monday Night Wars, or like that was crazy. It was just like that was those are theme songs that actually created the pop for the wrestlers. I think there's
right.
some points where the music is bigger than the wrestlers to a point.
Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like
It definitely becomes. Yeah, I mean, The Rock. I mean, if you smell, with The Rock's. I
I was
mean,
about to
and
go that
again, that
way.
Yeah,
went through
because
a
he
couple
started well.
iterations until they got to the main one there.
Yeah, well, he
But
started with like his big one was electrifying, which was like the most electrifying man came, and then
mhm.
his theme music came out, and then he went to "Can You Smell?"
Yeah,
and it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like he evolved through the
Exactly.
theme
Yeah,
music, but also his personality just matched anything you put out there.
So
yeah,
So
for
the
sure.
top on the if you ever type in Google the top songs are these are the top songs that goes is Break the Walls Down like we mentioned,
yeah,
Timberlake's The Game, the original one,
Right.
yep.
Sexy
That
Boy
was by
from
Jim
Michael.
Johnson, and Jim Johnson was the man for the
I
WWF
think
for
he
a long
still
time.
is. I think
Yeah, he made so many songs for them that were just unbelievable entrance songs.
hmm
Go
So
ahead. What else you got?
then you got Jimmy Johnson. I just want to wrestle him in my face. I'm not familiar with. A Real American. Then
Yeah, that's
Walking
Hogan's on
Alone
there.
is Christian. Uh, CM Punk's song cut the
Yeah,
personality.
call the
Uh,
personality. Yep.
yep.
hmm
Kane. Kane songs up there. Voices from Randy Orton.
hmm
Yep.
Uh,
What about Metal? Kurt Angle.
Kurt Angle is way down there. Actually, Kurt Angle.
That's surprising. I like that.
That was
Yeah, but that
great.
when that song hit and then everybody said you suck. And it
He was the perfect anti-hero like on that show for so
anti-hero. Yeah, you're
long.
right. You're right.
He was. And you know what the sad thing is? Like, if he didn't have his issues with his abuse of like certain substances, he would have gone on to have a career even more so than like 90% of the wrestlers that were in the WWE at the
I
time.
think you're right.
Because he
Yeah.
was phenomenal. He was the only real, like, absolute gold standard, like he said, real
Real
wrestler.
American.
But he actually had a great personality, which was hilarious. He was a character on camera.
He hammed
And
it
you're
up.
right, when he came out to that, like the gold medal theme song,
Mm.
everyone, whether they hated him or loved him, would be involved in that song. Yep. It was great.
Yeah.
And he's really probably the one that started like the "You Suck" chant, because for like 5 other characters in wrestling throughout the years, like that "You Suck," just they hit it on notes for people's like songs all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Now
I got to
that-
give
they
it to
have
him.
some other
I
things to
think
say to them
he's
now too. Like,
yeah.
when
As
they
great as he was, I think
Right.
he's underrated in that again, the guy would do like virtually had no ego.
No,
I mean, Stone Cold left because of issues. He didn't think he was popping, or The Rock has a certain way, but he would play. He's the guy who would take the pie in the face,
yep.
and he was an awesome wrestler. I mean, the guy, he could do anything in the ring, high risk maneuvers or whatnot. I mean, he
But he
really
was actually good on the mic too, which was
Yeah.
a triple threat. Like he
Yeah.
actually would get on the mic, and you believed how his emotions came through.
Yeah,
And that was
yeah.
really like a hilarious part of him. Like he was a people person,
You
but
know what's
also
funny about
like
that? If you
yeah.
put him with Eddie Guerrero, those two together in the ring together, you know you're gonna laugh your ass off.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't realize that at the time, but when those two are together, they have really good chemistry.
Yeah.
And it was
They
like
did. They had a great personal, like, just aura about them in the ring and
Exactly.
outside the ring.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
So he's actually 29 on the list. Now he's pretty low down there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I was talking more up because even when he went to TNA and they redid his theme song, that was a pretty good theme song for him too.
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad one. Like you can argue about TNA, that's a whole different conversation about.
So I bet you "Are You Ready" with DX is up there though.
You ready? Let's see. It's a bunch because you got. Oh shit! You got Evolution up here. You got a bunch of stuff here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
You
not
know what
sure
was a big one throughout the '90s, like or maybe early 2000s, like leading up to SummerSlam for like a full year. They played Taz's theme song, like randomly throughout the WWF, and just
I think
black
I remember
screen with
that.
the arms
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, "No way, Taz is coming, Taz is coming," and that shit went on for a full year. And
Right.
then they
Right.
finally had him come out at SummerSlam and just wreck everybody. That song kind of got a lot of people hyped up for a long time, and Taz just never. He kept getting injured over and over.
Yeah. And so you see, you have like Jericho's theme song. Here's twice back to back. On you got first place and in fourth place. Then you have some other ones, like I said. But I'm very surprised. I don't see DX here anywhere.
Now it's interesting. I'm looking at the Rising Sun by
Here it is
Shinsuke
down
Nakamura. Now again, that one was the greatest live I've ever seen. Like the greatest intro I've ever seen, like a live, was that WrestleMania when they had all the violinists lined up. Yeah, the first guy comes out and he does the violin solo, and then when he's coming down, and then the crowd is singing the song, but you got all these violinists like go down the aisle as he's walking to the ring.
He's got a sick entrance.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm
That's
gonna
why I was kind of
followed him
disappointed when he
from
lost.
Japan.
He
I'm gonna
didn't win. I
challenge
thought he
that.
was going to win that match. I thought.
You know,
gonna
it's another
challenge
good one. Visionary with Seth Rollins. Like
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
now who watches him waits for that to come out. And when it comes out,
Right.
that's got a huge pop. A
does.
singing
huge
it now
pop.
too, and it's singing
Yeah.
it now. Yeah,
That's got a
the one I'm
humongous
I'm
pop.
gonna challenge you on that. The one I thought was the best live entrance when Undertaker came back as a dead man. I mean, early 2000s, and they had all those guys coming out with the torches, and it was a very, very long entrance. It was like a good 15 minutes. Him just walking very, very slow. He even said in an interview, that was a hardest entrance for him to do long time because he had to walk. He had to stretch out for 15 fucking minutes. But you're playing in the back live as the guys are in torches. Imagine the guys holding the torches, how tired they got. We're like, all right, hurry
Oh
up,
my
hurry
God,
up.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that was my favorite one, hands down, personally. So
I think
go ahead.
I think my
Mark.
favorite entrance that I ever saw, which actually was like even beyond the music, was when Shawn Michaels came out at that WrestleMania against The Undertaker. The whole like coming in devil angel thing, like that was 20-minute entrance, and I was just like, when is this match gonna happen? But that's probably one of the coolest things, and they completely changed both of their music. They gave Undertaker his classic like bell tongues and everything, but it was just so well drawn out. It's like almost became movie-ish at that time, and I think a little of that has influenced a lot of the way the music still has progressed over time with these entrances.
Yeah.
So,
Do you think the theme song makes the wrestler sometimes?
oh, absolutely.
Makes the wrestler.
Or make the career? I mean, rephrase that a little bit.
Well, the career has to
Well,
be the wrestling.
I think it can augment.
Okay.
Especially again, if you get the audience to rock with you when the song is on or whatever, when that becomes part of your brand, then yeah. But like I said, I grew up in an era where again, music really didn't exist. So again, the wrestler was your thing. But like I said, I think with Hogan, I think it took Hulkamania and that whole thing over, and certainly it was very patriotic. The matches he had against the Russians, Nikolai Volkov and those guys or whatever, especially, and that was like at the height of the Cold War. I mean, I think one thing about the WWF, they always were seen like in attune to the what was going on in the world at the time.
The Iron Sheik.
Exactly, when he beat Backlund for the title, right? So that whole thing, 79 and the hostage situation, what they McMahon was always good at taking current events in the world and incorporating that into the wrestling.
Yeah, I agree 100%.
The newest theme song I think I like the best, and it's sad we lost him so early in his career. It was Bret Wyatt, "The World in My Hands." You know,
Oh,
with
yeah.
the fire, with the fireflies. People don't realize how good he was. He was lunatic in the head, but that would have made him so fucking good.
Right.
And when he
Well, the
walked
thing is, he wasn't in real life a lunatic like that. He was actually a pretty down to earth person as well,
100%
from all
agree.
the interviews,
100%.
everything. But he played that character so well that the people just kind of fed off his energy.
Yeah.
And even that like creepy walk in when all the music started, the lights were off and the phones were
rocking
on and
chair.
everything. It was just people were like, "Oh my God, this is different. This is not what we're used to." But he also played the part in the ring, which kind of made it that much better. Like his theme was great, but he was a good wrestler in the meantime. That's why they had to break off the rest of his group away from him because he was a standalone wrestler.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he
Yeah.
was a
Very,
second generation,
very,
if I'm not mistaken, right?
very good moves for a big man. I mean,
Mhm.
I mean the flexibility he did that behind the back walk he did where he flipped. I mean, that's not I can't.
He wasn't like his body type didn't match the prototypical
No, it didn't. He's like a
wrestler.
bumblebee, right?
I
He
want to
was.
rephrase what I said.
That's
Let me
what-
rephrase my statement. He was a lunatic on paper because he could write very good, and you need that when you're making a story up. Obviously, you cannot be you have to think outside the box. He's very good about it.
Right.
And I remember when when Undertaker came back for one time, he whispered something in the ear. This is a rumor. Nobody said anything. Undertaker would not release what he said to Bray Wyatt, but what people were saying, he says like, keep them guessing. Whatever you do, do not let them know what has happened. Keep them guessing, and that's how you draw your crowd back into it. And I like that actually. If he did really say that.
But are you somewhat disappointed that they never had? Now, again, I know Taker was certainly on the older side of the end of his career then, but they never tried to build an angle to get those two in a Hell in a Cell match or something like that.
Oh, that would have been like the Dark and Darker, which would have been awesome to see.
Yeah.
I personally
It really
agree. If
would
they
have.
had the Fiend, and when he started the Fiend character and the Undertaker character, if you can get them in the ring together, that would be the best match
The box.
in a generation.
Yeah.
Well, you know what though, but I think it would have had the same pop that like Kane and Undertaker had, because that was like the ultimate Hell in the Cell, the whole fiery depths coming up wrestling like
I'm gonna push back on that,
matchup.
Mark. I would say it would probably have a bigger pop when Hogan and Rock went at it the first time, the original match, because that was no title. The pop was so loud. They even Vince in Gorilla, he couldn't hear himself talking in his mic. That's how bad it was.
Mhm.
And I think it would have been one of the probably. They say that I think I'm not correct. I'm not 100%. I gotta check it really fast. The best match ever, no title, and it was Hogan versus Rock. And I think if they did that with no titles, Undertaker versus the Fiend, I think it would outbeat any match. Even if it was not Hell in a Cell, just a regular old school match, I think it would beat any match out there, hands down. Because both of them are. You gotta be a little fucked up in the head to do what they do. Let's be honest here.
Oh,
In a
well,
good
I'm
way, that
still.
is.
I got trauma from him and Mankind.
Mick Foley and The Rock going at it was crazy.
I'm saying Hell in a Cell with Mankind with Foley and
Oh
Taker.
yeah.
And
When
that
he
was
fell
just,
through the
I
actual
mean,
stage and everything,
the
that was
tax and all. I mean, that just. And I thought, at the time I was also into. I was a bit into the I guess the ECW. Like I remember when the original ECW came on.
Yep. When it was,
And-
they were allowing more craziness than WWF.
Exactly. Yeah, they just took
Then
it to like
WWF
another.
had to
They
kind
were
of
beyond
step it up
crazy.
a notch.
They
They
took
were
it to
throwing
another
chairs in the
level.
ring at
But
one point.
Yep.
yeah,
Oh,
But I-
speaking of crazy, you know who's got a theme song that was one of probably the craziest people like in WWE? Shane McMahon. When Here Comes the Money came on, he was ready to do some stupid shit in the ring
Yeah.
too. Because
Yeah.
Shane McMahon didn't want to live in his father's shadow, so he pushed the buttons of what he could physically do
right.
just to be that man. And for a long
I thought it
time,
was the other
people
way
were like,
around.
they hated him for so long, and then when he came back after like taking time off, he got one of the biggest pops when Here Come the Money came on I ever heard during a TV show. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought his father pushed him to do all that crazy stuff.
No, Shane was doing his own thing because his father wanted him just to take over the business. But if you think about it, Vince never went too hard over the top. He would let himself get beat up a little bit by the wrestlers to
Right.
make it like they're beating up the boss kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where the whole Stone Cold thing came from, with him always
Yeah.
beating up the boss. But Shane wanted to take a different direction because he didn't want to just take over his father's role. And that's when, like, the first time I saw in WrestleMania when he jumped from one side of the ring to kick a garbage can onto, I forget who it was, but I was like, holy shit, like everyone in my basement. And I remember because we used to sit around for like all the wrestling events. We used to get 20 kids together. Everyone put $5 in so we could pay my parents for pay-per-view. And we would watch these shows. And we were like, dude, that was insane. Like, this is Shane McMahon. He's not even a wrestler. He's a kid of an owner, you know, like that was crazy to me.
Another crazy move somebody did. And you can tell me, yep, I you know this is coming. And his theme song was a great tag team theme song, the Hardy Boys.
I was going to say Jeff Hardy. I heard it.
Jeff Hardy from the top of the ring down a swung dive.
Dude, he went way beyond the top of the ring. He was on the rafters for the one Swanton bomb.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Dude, he went to the rafters, and people were like, no way he's about to do this. That was like 50 feet in the air to do a stunt.
Right. Yeah.
Like that.
Shane did that similar thing. He jumped off the top case. He started praying.
He did.
He goes, "Help, God, help me!" He did a leg drop down, and he crushed himself. I think, and like he's not coming out of it. He's fucking dead. I thought, and he got up like, "Yep, I'm good." I'm like, "How the hell are you surviving?"
Oh, they're feeling it the next week.
Listen, I want to say one thing. I don't care if people say, "Oh, wrestling is fake." Okay, yeah, they know who the winner is. We know that. But jumping off those cages and getting beat up, that is actually real.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Paul?
You can't put your body through that type of physical abuse unless you practice and train and do everything. They're basically like, imagine doing the training of a football player, but then also trying to act while you're doing it.
Exactly.
I've told everyone for years who say wrestling, say guys like, yeah, it's a guy's soap opera, but it's literally the physicality that guys look for, but with the soap opera style storyline that women always swoon over on TV. We just don't have to swoon over him. We're yelling and screaming at kill him, take his head off. Let's do that.
Now, let me ask you, Mark. Now, at any time in your life did you believe it was real?
When I was a kid, obviously,
I did, but it was like, and I remember almost
it was larger than life.
Yeah. But it was almost like they took Santa Claus away from me. Like, I'm still traumatized.
I probably believed in wrestling longer than I did with Santa Claus.
Because guys were getting the fights, man. I mean, like, no, this is real. It's like, you know, guys would actually fight over that stuff back then.
So
when we were kids.
Both of you guys have met my mother. You know, you guys know how crazy my mother is. So I had said this to you before, Paul, and I never told you this, Mark. My mom is a big wrestling fan. I mean, huge, more than all of us. So to the point she's screaming at the TV. She goes, "Fuck him up!" I'm like, "Ma, you know it's fake. You know it's not." You know who? I'm like, "Fuck you!" She goes, "It's not Israel. That's not bullshit. That's fucking real. How can you fake?" I'm like, "Okay."
Now, question: did your mom used to curse in Greek at the TV and everything?
Yeah, actually, yeah.
So I got a similar story. So in New Jersey, I grew up. Half of my family's Italian, and you know, like the old school Italians love wrestling. They don't care. It's like it's a thing. Bruno Sammartino was this. Hulk Hogan was this. But my aunt, she passed away a few years ago. But I used to live in New Jersey in the apartment above the house she owned. And I would go down every Monday and every Thursday night to watch wrestling with her. She'd cook, we'd watch it. She was here 48 years, never spoke a lick of English, but she knew every wrestler, knew everything, and she would like swoon over them coming out in like their bikini trunks and shit like that. And I learned Italian a little bit watching her yell at the TV, and like literally she knew who the wrestlers were by the theme music coming on, and she knew Johnny Chana. She would do that, like it was hilarious. So like it's a show that like generationally just like the wrestlers, the music, the family enjoyment of it is real. Like, and that's the cool
I
thing
think at one time it might have rivaled, especially in the 50s. It might have rivaled box. I think boxing at one time was like the number one sport on TV, but I think wrestling at one time in the 50s it was like the number one sport on television.
Yeah.
I think
I believe it,
and it was regional, right? I mean, you still had the promotional era, but if you want to talk about like weekly viewership, wrestling was it back. They
would also have headlines of like, "Oh, wrestling's coming to town," and they would play in these small towns, and they would get all that population.
Like in the sports section of your newspaper, you would get the. I remember in the 80s, they would have the MSG card. Like you would get the results and everything. It would be in a section of like in New Jersey, Star Ledger. it would be right up in there.
Well, I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. So my parents even said in Paterson at all the different gymnasiums, because like you said, they were a Northeast, like,
yeah,
like network. So they would be in the Northeast all the time.
exactly.
Allentown, again, was easy access for them to get to New Jersey or Philly or Connecticut.
Exactly.
And
Yep.
that's why, like, they had so many events all through that area through, like, the
all the
70s
high
and 80s.
schools, Highland Park. I went to Highland Park High School. They had events at my high school all the time, and it's weird now because I still go back and watch like a lot on YouTube, like a lot of the old tape TV matches and stuff from Allentown and whatnot. And they always had this announcement section, like, coming to your area in Highland Park, New Jersey is, and who's going to be there and all these guys and stuff. So it's just weird, just going back and hearing that. Yeah, it's like.
Actually, the funny thing is, then they were doing shows where there was like 3,000 people in there. Now they're doing shows where there's 100,000 in stadiums. So you can't even see the wrestlers in the seats in the nosebleeds, and you're just there for the excitement. Yeah.
And it's funny because JR tours like, I say early 2000s. He used to announce in the next 5 weeks, go, guys, we're gonna in the next next week we're gonna be here. By a week after that we're going, and in a couple weeks we're gonna be like. He announced every city for the next 5 weeks where Raw is gonna be on Monday Night Live Raw. Mm-hmm. So that's where part of Vince make him to promote the shows so he can sell out more. And it actually fucking worked, believe it or not.
Yeah. So a couple of my customers are the bus drivers for Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch, and the guy's wife also babysits their kid. So 2 years ago, they got us free tickets. We were like 6 rows back, SummerSlam in Brooklyn, and my daughter. Yeah, it was cool. My daughter was like, she wasn't a big wrestling fan or anything like that, but when we brought her, you could even see in her, it was like this excitement to watch what was happening, and seeing it on TV, you realize like there's so much more like verbiage to it and so much more build up to it. So in between like the matches, she's like, "What's going on? Right? Come here. Come here. Explain. Who do we go to see?
Becky.
Who do we go to see?
Hi.
Hello.
Becky Lynch.
How are you?
Yeah.
And who do we see? Who else did we see?
I don't remember.
Yeah, put her on the spot.
The biggest question is,
but it was cool.
Me.
Yeah, she does.
You're right. Yeah, it is a different. Like I said, I hadn't been to the Garden in almost 40 years.
Oh my God!
We went 85. We saw Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper team up against Paul Orndorff and I forget who his tag team partner was, but saw those guys. And again, last year we went for that. Like I said, that SmackDown. And I was blown away. I've been to live football games, basketball, NBA games at the Garden and whatnot. I had never seen an audience so engaged, so diverse, families, just lifelong fans. I mean, date night.
Because it appealed to everyone,
everybody,
not just anyone who's like into it.
I think everybody owes it to themselves to go to one. If you get a chance to go to like a Raw or SmackDown in your area, whatever, just for the experience of it, it just really it was amazing. It is interesting. I miss one thing when you go to the live events, you don't get the commentary. I think for me, part of the appeal of wrestling was the commentary. When it was Vince McMahon and Jesse Ventura on the mic, or Tony
Jim
Schiavone,
Ross and the King,
exactly.
And all that,
you don't get that from the live event because they brought so much to it as well. So it's kind of like it's pluses and minuses. The experience, like I said, is terrific, but in a lot of instances, I think I would still rather watch from home because, especially when JR was at the top, it was like, oh my God! I mean, he was just.
You know what? Though it's cool to see like learning and watching it on TV for years and getting that like excitement and that like having a few wrestlers who are your favorites and waiting for that music to pop and the fireworks to go off. But then seeing it live, it's like the cool thing about seeing it live, even though you don't get that commentary, you're like, holy shit, I'm really seeing them now. I'm really here. And
Yeah.
that's the real excitement behind it.
Right.
So even
right.
though you miss one aspect of it, you're getting a whole different
You do.
aspect of
Like I
it.
said, but again, you learn wrestling growing up. You learn the moves, snap mare and collar elbow tie up, and just the lingo of
Crossface
wrestling.
chicken wings.
Exactly. You learned all that when you were watching it, and it was so it was like you were getting an education too. So
Yep.
yeah, it was great. But I got to go back to the music. You talk about music themes and pops. I do have to go back in the day. And one of the biggest pops, whether I saw it either in the studio or in when they would show you matches from arenas, like the NWA at the time, they would do like Charlotte or Raleigh or whatever, and they would have like the big sort of arena shows and whatnot. The Road Warriors, when Iron Maiden came on,
Yep.
and when Iron Maiden came on, that
It was
popped
crazy.
everything. Yeah, and those guys with the football,
Yeah, bro.
the stuff with spikes
Ready
and
to
stuff.
go.
Yeah, that was the biggest pop. I think everybody lost their stuff when those guys came out. So I
You know,
got
another one
to pay homage
that I
to those
really
guys.
love. Another tag team, kind of similar, but a generation later, the Dudley Boys. When they came on, everyone was waiting. They knew tables were involved. They knew there was 3Ds involved. They knew it was a black dude, a white dude, and they were both hillbillies having the best time of their life, destroying tag team after tag team after tag team.
Well, I first saw those guys
awesome.
in again ECW. So like I said, I was hooked. I say for that 90, I say from 96 to 98, like I was all in on the ECW. So that I think I watched it way more than I think WCW or WWF at the time. So I definitely that little niche when they were in Philadelphia. That was it. So I saw the Dudley Boys.
The biggest pop they ever got was when they came back finally to WWE years later, and it was on WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden, you hear the music like, "Holy shit, they're back! Shit's about to go broken, and it's gonna be painful for somebody."
Yeah.
And they held the belts for like almost a year and a half after that pop. Like they were just running it because you know what? Vince McMahon's a genius in that aspect. He brings people back at the right moments when you see things starting to get stale. He'll change it to build it up again. And he had a lot of new tag teams that were coming up at that time, and the Dudley Boys were the right fit to kind of bring it back, get the old crowd excited so that the new crowd can kind of like intermingle, and then it started a whole new era for it. He does it a lot.
I give you credit, yes, but towards the end of his career, now and like when he started getting up there in age, obviously he wasn't in line with the crowd. Now that Triple H is in creative, he's doing a really good fucking job. And wrestling is being popular, very cool again. Like he's saying, wrestling is the most popular it's ever been now in the last couple years.
It's still it's bittersweet that after all these literally decades that you don't have a McMahon in the WW, whatever you want to call it. Go back to his father and his grandfather before that, and then
Well, technically, isn't Triple H still with?
Yeah, they're married.
Yeah, I mean he's married in, but I mean a McMahon. There's no
So he's
McMahon
kind of a
on the
McMahon.
board or
He's
in
kind
the.
of.
Wrong there, Paul. Because Triple H, I mean Stephanie McMahon had announced she's coming back to run things. Yeah.
But also, Vince is never going to give it completely to someone outside the family. You know, Stephanie and Shane, they have a huge stake in that company.
Yeah.
The only reason he even stepped away is because of all the BS that he kind of brought on himself.
Right.
But also, Vince and his wife were kind of the detriment to WWE at a time as well, because Vince's ego got ahead of the actual WWE. He started becoming more of the Vince show, and he had to step back for a while. But then also when his wife became political, that's when the end of the Attitude Era came in.
Yeah.
Because they had the PG-13 everything because she was running for Congress, and it was just a shitty way for them. They had to learn a hard lesson on, like, you got to keep work and business or certain things separate. Like, stick with what you got, keep pushing it forward, keep evolving it, and don't stray away. You know, like you got a good thing, a really good thing. And Triple H is now the person like actually working to continuously evolve it. like too many egos were involved in too many situations, and it became more about the business rather than the actual show.
Right.
And that's what started taking away from the TV ratings and a lot of things that were going
Right.
on.
Right. Now, for understand also, I mean, he wouldn't let. I mean, Sheen had had a lot of suggestions and ideas for creative, and he just wouldn't let a lot of those ideas kind of come to fruition, which
Correct.
I thought led to a lot of times when Sheen would just leave.
Yeah, for like a year at a time and stuff sometimes.
Yeah. So that's
So
unfortunate
guys,
also that
let's
he
welcome
didn't want
Jedi
to
Mike on
share
the
with his family.
panel. Jedi, what's going on, my man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good,
Yeah,
good,
it's
good.
What's
good.
up?
Yeah. How was Comic Con?
It was busy. I was doing a lot of stuff, and I'm currently editing a lot of interviews and stuff I did, and I'm slowly recovering. So yeah,
Hopefully, I see you at New York Comic Con. I know I'm gonna be there.
yeah. I had to. I know people like in my team. I know we're kind of divide and conquer right now because I did CinemaCon in Vegas, and D23 is in the this coming week. So there's a lot of stuff that's happening. But I have to recover from San Diego because that was a lot. So yeah.
Well, let me
That's a crazy event.
just Jedi. Let me give you flowers now because I remember when I came into this YouTube space and whatnot. I know you were just finishing up college and whatnot, and now you're a married man. You're doing your business. You're living your passion. You're doing your thing, man. So I just appreciate
There you go.
the things that you're taking on, and you're killing it, bro. So it's just really good to see it happen for you.
No,
Yeah,
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. No, me and Tamika, we celebrate 1 year being married. I think it was the last week,
Happy
July
anniversary.
15th. So yeah, it's been 1 year. Been married. So yeah.
I think that's what you're doing. I'll be honest with your channel is that's my goal eventually. Like I'm like I think that's all of us goals. Eventually, do this full time and enjoy our passions in life.
Yeah,
Except work for
yeah.
somebody else.
You say you live in it, so I just salute you and
I gotta give
just
credit too,
all
yeah.
the success.
So
in your
Jedi, let
endeavors.
me ask you a question, my man.
Yes, sir.
When it comes down to theme songs, what is the best theme song in your memory? Comes to WWE or WWF or WCW, any of them. Which one's the best theme song you think it comes to your mind?
I don't know, I gotta say Triple H.
No,
He has two kinds.
He's got a couple, yeah.
it's got the game or
Well,
my time are usually the
I'm
two
gonna let
biggest
you
ones.
decide. Thinking which one it is, though.
I like to tell it's time to play the game. That's my favorite one.
I would say
but,
time to play the game. Just had the best ring to it.
yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it. No, I remember my dad.
That's when he was the most serious. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that's what my dad when I was younger used to play that. When he trying to mess with me or whatever like that. So, yeah, no, that song brings the theme song bring memories though. With my father. So yeah.
No doubt.
So I got a funny one though. Like if you want to go back and top songs of all time that were like the most thought of or noticed, when Shawn Michaels used to come out to "Sexy Boy," I think it was hilarious because he brought a whole new crowd to the WWE and WWF that were like unheard of. Like women started watching like in droves because of him. And then they tried doing it again and recreating with like Val Venus and stuff like that. But for like 3 decades, Shawn Michaels was killing it, being the sexy boy of wrestling too.
Yeah. And I honestly I didn't see it coming because I remember when he made the split. I remember when he broke up with Marty Jannetty, kicking him through the plate glass at the barbershop and all that. And he just kind of came out. And then when he hooked up with Sherry and whatnot, he came out song. I thought he would be like a mid carder. I think what changed it for me was that ladder match he had with Razor Ramon.
Yeah,
That's
that
what
was
kind of let me know
crazy.
that was going to be okay.
And they always put him on with people who were like twice his size, and he was always like that underdog David versus Goliath in wrestling matches.
Yeah.
Like I think the best way they ever ended a career was with him and Ric Flair. Like he was just so big. He became that like face, like that Brad Pitt kind of face in the WWE.
Right.
And he just out of nowhere became so much bigger than I even expected him to be. Because
Right.
before him was like the Bret Hart era, like the real wrestlers coming in and doing certain things. Shawn Michaels is kind of like the rough around the edges wrestler, but he had a like theme to him, which was absolutely hilarious. And it picked up, and he became so serious and so good and so respected
Yeah.
that
Well,
his song
I
is
gotta give
another one
credit to
that's
McMahon
noted.
because again, all those guys, none of those guys would have happened if it wasn't for the steroid trials. Right?
No.
Because McMahon wanted big muscle. He had Hogan. Then after that, it was supposed to be the Warrior. But when those cases hit, and he went to the smaller guys, like you said, like I said, Shane and I'm having a brain freeze right now. Which guy you just mentioned?
We look at a lot of them, like even the Hardy Boys, like the Hardys were like a crew that they were never on steroids. They were just fucking nuts,
Right, but
like
even like
they
I said,
were.
you had big tag, you
funny
had
you
big
guys say
tag
that
teams. You know what I mean?
Because
Like,
last con, New York Comic Con, last October, I met Matt Hardy, and I thought he was gonna be this huge guy because that's what you think in your head, right? But he's
No,
not
he's
that
like
bigger than me.
5'11",
Yeah, he's a little
maybe
taller.
6 foot.
Yeah, he weighs about the same. Like what like from if I had to guess, he'd probably around my weight. He's just more slimmed down than I am. I'm like, oh, you are not that big actually.
that's what they say about never meeting your heroes, because
Mm-hmm.
they're
No,
larger than life
actually-
on screen.
And I thought,
But also the funniest thing is we meet them usually 10, 20 years after their prime.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I actually met a bunch of the wrestlers, like Trish Stratus. She was my little crush back in the day, and like, man, I can't wait to meet her. I finally meet her, like, yeah, you're so fucking hot, by the way. But some
Well,
of her. Go ahead.
That's actually what Hulk Hogan was kind of like when we saw him a couple weeks ago. It was crazy because like he's old. You got to think how old he is now. He's 70. Like so when we saw him, like I'm used to like my mind immediately went to this giant dude, so ripped, so big, like larger than life, big mustache, and he was just like an old guy, and you could tell, like, he was
Well, he
older,
lost.
so he had his wrinkly
I think
skin.
he said he lost like
everything,
4
but he was
inches
still
in height.
built. He was still in shape.
Yeah.
He just wasn't the guy that we remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he
And
actually lost height because he's
did.
he's strong.
The spinal,
He did.
spinal stuff. Yeah.
A
Yeah,
part of
he
me was
lost
like a little sad, but at the same time, that like inner like child was like, "Holy shit, that's Hulk Hogan right in front of me." My daughter, he's hugging my daughter, and I felt like the most proud dad ever. It was cool, but it was bittersweet seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't know, like you said that, but the steroid, like that whole time frame really did switch up, and we started seeing the acrobatic side of WWF come out, and it was just like it was a game changer.
Yeah.
Like it was a serious game changer, and it made his career out of a kind of like a fluke. Like
Exactly.
McMahon wanted something, he couldn't have it, it changed it, and he wound up becoming 10 times richer and 10 times more popular because of it.
Yeah.
Now, next, you guys a question. Now, when you hear a theme song, do you think marketing has something to do with it too?
Who?
Marketing. You think the theme song has something to do with marketing?
Oh, well, everything is marketing. The whole name WWE everything's marketing. Like the one good thing that happened to WWF is when World Wildlife Foundation was suing them because of the name.
Right.
They changed it from World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment.
Right.
And I think actually switching it to entertainment gave people a new reality of you didn't have to hear the argument anymore of like, is this fake? Is this real? People understood it's entertainment, and it is a show larger than life. And then you got to think years after that, like they were selling out pay-per-views by the tens of the millions of viewers, like, which was nuts. And it's not just in the United States, it's global.
Yeah.
Globally, this is a phenomenon.
Right. Well, also the other reason for the change was, again, coming out of the steroid trial. Because, again, he had basically had to expose the business and saying, look, this is entertainment. So, again, making the switch around that time also, I think, was advantageous to kind of let people know that this isn't, because I think for a while you weren't even supposed to refer to it as wrestling, even though it was in the name. So we're not wrestling, we're sports entertainment. So so again, all those events he was able to make lemonade out of lemons and be able to pivot in a way that again, in so many instances, made the product better, or he got more popular, or made the brand more popular over time.
Yeah.
And
So
the
Mike,
good, the
what do you
good thing
think,
is
man?
it's also kind of one of those bulletproof industries,
Mm,
it's if something happens, you can always find a new way of making it big again.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it always reboots it
Although
like a phoenix.
certainly the decline of the territories, I think certainly. I think there was a time when a lot of those bodies just couldn't survive the markets. I think they definitely crowded out everybody. I think it is healthy when you do have multiple promotions, but again, the wars that happen, because I do you guys? I don't follow Khan's product.
So
Do you?
right
Do you
now,
guys?
this is a great time to be a wrestling fan because now you have AEW that is a huge promotion right now. People don't think it is, but it's growing fast, and you just keep an eye on them. You see it in a few years. Now TNA is actually has a comeback now. They got rid of all those fuckers that was in higher ups that screwed up the whole company. And
Is it still owned by that same woman? Like I said, I've been out of it. So
I
the
don't think so because
Dixie Dixie Carter, I think.
Yeah, they rebranded from TNA Impact whatever
Yeah.
to TNA Wrestling again.
Okay.
So they're back to the original foundation. They got rid of the weird square circle that had
Right.
Pentagon or whatever it was called. They're back to the square one. So they're going back to their foundations. So right now, people don't think TNA is big, but you have some good names like what's his name? His real name is Nick. Zach Steiner, whatever his name was, who got
Yep.
let go. He's actually wrestling over there. He's the world title over there. They have some good names coming up. Believe it or
Yeah.
not. AJ Styles came from there. Samoa Joe came from that company. People are like, oh, they're not that big. Like, yeah, go look at the track history. They have a pretty good track history. They're
We
Right.
got to look.
underground.
Any major outlet always has to have a farm where these people are able to actually build and grow, and they can handpick them. It's like no different than the NFL to college football. You're finding your best assets, and you're like, okay, let's bring this person, let's try this person, let's try that person. And when you can cherry pick people who are going to be not only the best wrestlers but also the best entertainment, they can never screw you up.
Yeah.
Actually, the only screw up I've ever seen is oh my God, what's his face? Not that long ago, Dolph Ziggler. I think probably one of the best wrestlers pound for pound I've
Certainly
ever seen.
work rate was off the chain.
Oh my God, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen, but they misused him in the WWE. He had an ego issue, and he knew he was better than what they were giving him credit for.
Mhm.
And he could have been easily the face of the WWE, but they chose to go with the brute looking, the bigger guys again during his time in the WWE,
Yeah.
and just never worked out. But he's probably the best actual wrestler, like actor, wrestler, can take shots, make them look real, can do
Yeah.
things
He could sell like
athletically that
anything.
no other
Yeah.
people. Oh my God, he was phenomenal.
Yeah.
So-
You want to jump in here? What you got? What's your opinion, man? Okay, we'll come back to that.
Wait, I'm sorry.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I'm with my wife right now. I apologize. Can you repeat that?
No,
one more
you're
time?
good.
That's fine. It's fine. I don't want you to think we're ignoring you. That's why I want to get your opinion in here.
No, you all good. I'm sorry. Yeah, go repeat that one more time.
So we're just talking about different wrestlers. Who's after the steroids trial, who got an actual chance, who didn't get a chance. So what's your opinion? Like, you think some wrestlers should have got a chance? And we're talking also about now. It's a good time to be a wrestling fan because you have TNA, you got AEW, and you got WWE, and NXT. Don't forget that we have that too. We got 4 different promotions right now. So what's your opinion?
I
on
would
all
say
this?
I would say this because I think will be a transition because you're seeing there's an era that is going away. I think John Cena's he already announced his retirement of it on the following year and everything. But I feel like there is a transition in about what type of career choices that these wrestlers have to make in terms of actually understanding the fan base and the audience. Because I mean, I'm 25 now. I was watching this when I was like 10 years old, right? And I mean, and that a lot can happen in almost 15 years, and so I think that in terms of the transition of the industry, I feel like whether it's a good time to be a wrestling fan. Like today, obviously you have more opportunities for content for events to be thrown today because again we have streaming, we have other things that are constantly evolving. But now in terms of our appetite has changed in terms of particular wrestlers. I think that's just in terms of new names getting out there, and also some people that have probably had I would say stagnant careers maybe for the last 5 years, not really have made a much of an impact as others. But as the more heavyweights are transitioning out or aging out of the industry, I think that gives more opportunity for people to come in now. So I wouldn't say of being in black and white saying that right now is a good time to come. I mean, any time is really, it's more of terms of who's going to be the new face, or at least in this particular season, and also what appetite for us as fans that we want to see in terms of content. So
I have a question. So now that The Rock is coming back in, like he's getting to age where they're gonna have to find a new face. John Cena's gone, Batista's gone. Some of these Undertaker's past his prime. The people who like had long tenure. Um, when are they gonna establish who's the next big chauvinistic person that can carry the entire industry? Because those faces, they always had, at least for 10 years, one or two faces who can completely carry the name brand for a long time. And that's the one thing that I'm not seeing right now. Like I'm seeing there's like 10, 15 people that are constantly being shuffled to kind of make it continuously be the show it is.
Right.
But I'm not seeing that one or two big faces that are just the name brand, Like you had a Stone Cold for a decade. You had a Rock for a decade.
Yeah, go.
Well, what about Roman Reigns? I mean,
exactly.
I remember Roman Reigns was pushed
exactly
on you until he popped. You know what I mean? But I know people were like pushing back on, we don't want Roman Reigns. And I don't know what happened or something, when they developed the brotherhood or whatever.
He didn't have that charismaticness about him like some of the other people you fell in love with. Like, you got to think of it this way. Stone Cold, The Rock, and say even like a John Cena. 3 total different type A personalities. Completely different. But they all had something about them that you absolutely fell in love with. Whether you love them or hate them, you couldn't stop wanting to see them do something next.
But they had
Roman Reigns is great.
Yeah.
But I could do without him. Like, I don't, maybe that's even just me. Like, I'm just like, he's good, but he's not that entertaining. Not on a mic, at least. Not on as an acting.
Well, it's almost like he got better by saying less. You know what I mean? It's almost like, everybody else, he got Heyman to speak for him and whatnot. It's like the less he spoke, it's almost like the more he got out of it by stepping back a little bit.
Right now. So when this show split off and he was the big dog, people pushed back, including myself. Like, come on. I want to like him when I want to like. Don't make me force me to like him.
Right.
But when he came back as a bad guy, heel, and he came as the tribal chief. Okay, I can feel this vibe coming off him.
But it still didn't feel like that solo pop that he was at the top. It was like he still had a surrounding that he needed to carry him to that, because he didn't have this self. Yeah. He didn't have his own enough of a personality pop that you could like him enough to that point. That I get. He wasn't bad enough, and he wasn't good enough. You know what I mean? Like, there has to be a point in each wrestler's career where they're so bad that you're like, I can't stand this motherfucker, but I can't wait to see him again. I love this guy. Come out, be the hero. Like, he was always like kind of in the middle to a point where you didn't know whether he was going to be that person you really rooted for, that person you freaking hated. He's always kind of like balanced around in that limbo. And that's, I guess, what I'm missing from wrestling now. Like, Cody Rhodes is trying to take his career from his dad's Real American Hero kind of thing. And it's working for him right now. I'm glad he's gotten to the point he needed to, because he overcame a lot too with his lisp and trying to be better on the mic. And he actually, like, there's a lot of behind the scenes of that, but like, he's still not there. There's not a face of wrestling that's really that
what I
person.
think is going on right now, I think Triple H is not trying to have one face. I think he's trying to do multiple faces. And because if somebody gets hurt, that you're fucked. Because they're going to get hurt no matter what. It's not if, it's when you get hurt. And we know that. So
yeah, but here's what always happened in the past. Someone gets hurt who is that face. That opens the door for every other creep to come out of every corner and start fighting together until that person comes back, and it makes it that much better. And they don't tell you when he's coming back, because you got all this this like crazy monstrosity in the middle of like wrestling, and you're like, okay, when is he coming back? And you forget about him, and then all of a sudden, boom, pay-per-view event, and here comes running down the ramp, your hero again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I don't see anyone with that right now. The closest I saw is like maybe a Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is getting to that point where he's being loved a lot, but he's also kind of being pushed to the back a little bit.
Right.
CM Punk had it. If CM Punk never got into his shit with
doesn't
WWE,
play well with others.
bro, if he didn't get into it with WWE, he would have been that MFer in the
I was
top
asking
of the
though,
WWE.
what was the over under you guys had on this last return? I gave it 8 months. I'm still surprised. I think the injury, certainly extended his time there. That he's coming back, but I gave it less. I gave it less than a year after he split from AEW. I said, oh, he won't be in WWE longer than a year.
So I'll be honest with you, Paul,
when that money comes in.
That's what. Hang on. To be honest,
When they give him that little contract and say, yo, you shut your mouth, you fucking work your way again, I'll pay you this much, let's do it.
He's bound to happen.
So,
I don't see him.
I didn't think he would have ever come back because how much bad blood was spilled during his first run. But now he's back.
But Triple H is in charge. That's the difference maker. And he knows that he is, he's a face, he's a talent, and he is phenomenal on the microphone.
Yeah.
He just got to be controlled.
So what they're saying about him now in backstage after the whole shit at AEW, he is coming in with a different attitude, and he's actually behaved.
Well, it's because he only has so much more of a career left, and there's a point where, all right,
yeah.
I don't know if you understand this yet, but the midlife crisis thing, when it happens, and you're like, oh shit, I had this and I blew it. I either get my shit together, I kind of play by the rules a little bit so I can make my bank, have a good retirement, and still do what I love doing. And I think that's slow.
It's not. I mean, he has to be humble. He came into AEW and essentially owned it.
Yeah,
which goes to show that they weren't as big. All the money, all the stuff they were talking about, how big AEW was going to be, it wasn't what it was until he got there. It's if you give him too much, the hubris just takes over, and he's just like, "Look, I'm God here." You know what I mean? So I think him coming back, I think he understands the pecking order that he's at. If they ever give him a taste of the top, whether he goes up against Rollins or someone else or whatever, when he's like he's
Rain mindset. You ain't lying.
I think that's when you see that other side of him come out and say, "Look, I am the man."
Yeah,
and it's a different ball game. But yeah, where he's at right now, he's not in a position to call any shots right now. He's just coming off the big injury and everything.
That's also the difference between some of the big faces, what I'm talking about, who understood where they were and what they had to do to get there. Like The Rock, you could give him a mic. He's not going to fuck his shot up. He knows when to start, when to back off, how to make things happen. Right. He understands to play to crowds. You could bring Stone Cold back for a day, and he would do the same thing without question. Like, he lights out. He knows what he's doing. Randy Orton, who has been playing his role perfectly for years. He's just lasting in the WWE, getting his paychecks. He knows, hey, I'm going to get bumped down. I'm going to get bumped up. This is how the show goes. You do well. People love you. They're going to give you this shot at the title. They're going to do this. Like, certain people understand it. CM Punk was his own worst enemy. He just never will get that. Dolph Ziggler syndrome, same thing.
Yeah.
I think his ego got into it too much. And now there are rumors that his wife might be coming back too. Let's see, because I seen people come back who I thought never.
Yeah, people loved it. I didn't see the appeal, but I remember when she was around, they loved her.
I didn't like AJ that much. I thought she wasn't that good. I was like,
my daughter, she's a big fan of hers.
She wasn't even that great a wrestler. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? I'll take a Charlotte Flair over her any day of the week.
I think people liked her, and I hate to say this. I don't know, I'm going to get a lot of shit for it, because she had a body on her, to be straight up. I think that's why people liked her.
She had that, like, Avril Lavigne skater girl kind of thing, and it was they were appealing to the 30, 40-year-olds that were back in that day watching those certain type of characters on music. I don't know. I always looked at like, hey, you're gonna wrestle, be a Lita. You're gonna be a wrestler, be a China. And it, like, not saying you got to be big or anything, but show out, like show you have skills. And I didn't feel like she was that clean a wrestler.
See, that's the difference with today's women's wrestling. Now, the women wrestlers now these days, they have to show up and wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're getting smoked out. Very simple. I know when Trish Stratus first started, she had no idea. She was like, what was it, a manager at first, and then she learned a little at a time, and now she was one of the
Trish
best.
Stratus also, though, was a product of the Heart Society and all of their wrestling camps and everything.
Yeah.
So she learned how to wrestle. The
Right.
thing is, though, in the women, Trish Stratus came in at a weird time because women's wrestling wasn't what it was. They were faces, not really wrestlers, and Trish Stratus was a wrestler and a face, and they were like, how do we put this both together to make it pop the way it should? Because at that time, China was the face. Like, it was like, holy shit, when Trish just came in, China was like, yo, this is a chick wrestling dudes, and we're trying to throw in a women's event here and there, and it just wasn't there.
Right.
But shortly after, some of the women wrestlers came around, like Trish came around, then Lita came around. China was starting to be on the downside of her career. It was starting to transition in their perspective.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Lita though. She might have been.
Yeah.
She might have been, even to this day, even with the talent being amazing, but I think she really was the one who was able to combine the athleticism with the look. I mean, she had a hot look to her. I mean, it was Trish and some of those, I thought they were kind of like
do some stuff that
yeah. But she didn't look too manly or whatever. She had a femininity to her, even though she was kind of like a bad girl, kind of image with the Hardy Boys or whatever. But she was able to combine everything together. I thought a lot of those other ones were kind of like wannabe wrestlers or whatever. But then you go to China, which is the extreme. I thought she kind of fit the right combination of athleticism and sex appeal.
And now I feel like there's still a lot of like in the women's wrestling side, a lot of people who want to be like influencers more than they actually want to be wrestler.
True.
And it's kind of bringing down the women's wrestling a lot because you're getting a lot of pretty girls in wrestling. You still have a couple of the good ones, like the one goth chick who's big, like kind of China's second coming. I forget her name.
Yeah. She just came back from a.
I believe she's Rock's cousin or something like that.
No, we're talking about the goth one, a part of the
She's
Eddie
with Rey
Guerrero's son
Mysterio's
and-
nephew and everything.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeez.
shit! Wait, listen, hang on. I'll tell you right now. Give me 1 second. I'll give you right now.
She's good. And they're trying to find a way to make her. She just got injured for a little bit, so now she's coming back and doing her thing.
And her match
they were
with
trying
Charlotte,
to make her China too, which is really.
But it's more believable to an extent. I mean, China just kind of blew everybody out the water. Like there was no
She's
fair
a freak.
competition. But
She was a freak.
the match that she had with Charlotte Flair, I think a couple years ago at WrestleMania, whatever, I thought that really was a that really put her over.
It was good.
I think, yeah.
Real good.
But to your point earlier, Mark, about who the face and whatnot,
Repeat,
you think?
Ridley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley.
But do you think the reason they haven't been able to find a replacement is the reason why? Because I think under the McMahon, I think they got back too many guys too soon. I mean, the Undertaker with the Hell in Cells, did his career go on too long? Or Brock Lesnar? I mean, they kept. For the longest time, they would bring him back. They would shelve him for a year around WrestleMania time or whatever. They would bring him back. They never was able to find, so they always had to go back to the hole, and bring him back up to make an impact. I think it's certainly gone down in the last couple of years, and now that he's also involved in a scandal or whatever, so you're probably not going to see him anytime soon. But it's like, did they go too many times to the well to try to rekindle that? That magic that with those guys, the Undertaker, and as well as
like Brock.
Lesnar. Yeah.
No, I think they're just recycling them because from a rating standpoint, they were just at a downward. Realistically, they don't have a face and they haven't had someone to rely on.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. Like in wrestling, that's why at one point there were big faces, so they had to split it between the SmackDown and the Raw shows because they had enough big pop from each show to be able to split it. Now I think everyone's kind of like, I'm not going to say mediocre because they're all like they're great at what they do, but there's no one to that level yet. There's no one there that's really. I think Roman Reigns they thought was going to be there, and he's not. And I don't see anyone
Also,
currently who's there. So
Roman
they're
has a
bringing them
personality.
back. They're bringing those guys back just to kind of sell the seats and sell the events and sell what they need to do to make it like, oh shit, Brock Lesnar's coming back. You know, like, oh God, we got to see what's going to happen. Is he going to be the new face again? Is the Undertaker? How many times can you recycle the Undertaker? He's been there 40 years.
I know.
Like the guy's 60 something years old. Like he loves wrestling, but at the same time, he's also another down to earth. I just want to enjoy my life type of person.
Yeah.
The Rock's coming back at 56 years old or whatever he is now, you know, like wrestling again because they just don't have that face. And you can clearly see it. And I think that's what they're missing.
He's 52, by the way.
What's that?
Rock is 52.
Oh, 52. Yeah. I added a couple for him. But you got to think 50. How after 50 years old? I mean, even 45. Who wants to still be throwing their bodies on the line just to do that?
Yeah, did he tear his ab that match with Cena a few years ago?
Yeah, he's growing out.
Yeah. It's like stuff happens. Look, trust me, I'm in the 50 club, and trust me,
you're older now. You don't want to do that to yourself anymore.
You feel terrific, but anything can pop at any time. Your Achilles, your anything. So
here's what it is. They know they need to sell a pay-per-view. The pay-per-view is going to pull in $25 million for the company. Let's pay The Rock $1 million for a 2-hour appearance to come out, do a couple promos, and then spend 30 minutes in the ring. Who wouldn't do that at 52 years old for $1 million? You know, like they know he'll draw the crowd. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, they're all trying to push them as much as they can. They're just not pulling it in the way that, like, there's a face, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just a personality, a body, a face, that figure, and they don't have it right now. I don't know. Like, I'm not going to buy a pay-per-view to see Cody Rhodes in the title belt. Like, as much as I think Cody Rhodes is great, I'm like, that's not an attraction. Like, from when I grew up, like, are you kidding me? I used to see wars on wrestling events.
See, this is where I was going to go with it. Let me ask you guys a question now. So, last WrestleMania was a big clusterfuck. Obviously, we know originally it was supposed to be Cody was stepped down. It was supposed to be Rock versus Roman Reigns. And that got scrapped because they got such a backlash on it. Then it was Roman Reigns with Cody. In your guys' opinion, do you think they did the right move, or should have they kept the original plan?
I think either one of them just wasn't it, to be honest with you. Like if I could just put a stamp on it, either match wasn't it. Like, there needs to be a good 6-month buildup of a new face who's just got that mic presence, and either he's going to be really good or really bad, and someone's got to try and put him in a corner, and then that person has to just keep winning past or beyond that. Like Lesnar has popped. The good thing is, for years after a lot of the other wrestlers retired and were out of the industry, Lesnar's thing is he just came in and dogged people. Like, he just came in beast mode and was just like tossing everyone left and right. And for years while he was doing that, he didn't even have to show up to weekday events. He showed up, got on a mic, built it up, and then a month later would be on a pay-per-view. Like, that's how big a presence he was. Correct. But also, he was a face at that point. He was to that level where, like, Paul Heyman had his prize pony to ride on the back of. Since then, I haven't seen that person yet.
Yeah.
Some people think it's Sakura now, who's supposed to be the second 2.0 bloodline guy, and like he's but I don't see it with him either. Like,
I honestly, I haven't been watching. I'm kind of in my, like I said, I go in and out. So I've kind of been in my out stage. I'll catch highlights here and there. My daughter comes in. She says, "Oh, I'm watching something. I may join or whatever." So I'm not as up on things as I need to be. So it's going to take me a minute to catch up to things. But I do know where it's going.
Here's the thing too, Paul, right now with everything that is, and this is the one topic I want to touch base on the next half hour we have left is so. A lot of people don't have cable like myself. I haven't had cable in over 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years now.
Yeah.
So even on Peacock, you can watch it, but you can watch the rerun. By that time in the morning, I see all the highlights. I don't even want to watch it.
Right.
Now with WWE, I believe it's Raw or SmackDown. I can't remember which one it is. It's going to Netflix next year. How is that going to change the game now? What do you guys think?
I don't know.
I just think it's the natural. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I think it's just a natural progression. I mean, you got the NBA is going to be on Amazon Prime next year, a certain number of games. The NFL is already there. They may put more packages there. I think in the near future, in the next 5 years, I think the major title events are going to be on. Like the Super Bowl may be on streaming. It won't be free TV. So I just think it's just a natural progression of things. So I don't think it's going to change.
I just found out that NFL Network, you have to subscribe to YouTube in order to order the NFL Network.
Yeah, I have. Yeah,
really?
They switched. They were on Direct TV for like 20 years, and then they because I have that. I have YouTube TV, so I'm able to catch the catch the games and whatnot. So yeah, I just think that I don't think it's going to hurt the brand too much. Because I mean, so many people have it now. It's just
I think what's going to happen now, because with regular TV, you have to follow all these rules and regulations and laws. Now, when you go to streaming, there is not really a lot of regulations you need to worry about. You
but you also don't want to lose your viewership by going a little too over the top.
Of course.
That's the only thing. I could see maybe a second coming of the Attitude Era, which would be a savior to them, like getting a little bit more raw and doing some crazy over the top stuff. But I don't see him getting to like Japanese deathmatch Mick Foley days, like those were crazy.
Right.
I don't think that's ever going to happen again, because I met Mick Foley personally, and he's pretty fucked up after all that shit.
Right.
Yeah, so
well, let me ask you guys.
Go ahead.
Why do you think the WWE Network failed?
Well, I think they just secluded themselves to just one network, which, people tune in, but they also can switch to other things in between and come back to it. Like limiting yourself to just trying to control your viewership in one thing all the time. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't think people had that appeal. Like I liked tuning in for 2 hours on a Monday night and watching some of the wrestling events, but I didn't have the attention to sit there for 6-7 hours a day just watching nothing but wrestling.
Right, but I mean, I think at the time when it started, what was it, like $5.99 or something like that? It was cheap. It was under $10.
$10.
Of course, and I bought it.
Yeah.
And you got the libraries. So, like for a guy like me, I was loving it because again, I got all the old stuff. Like I said, I can go back and watch the old WWF stuff, the AWA, the NWA, and all those other. Then they got all those other territories, South, West wrestling and Texas wrestling and Houston, and all those things on it. So it's like, man, this is like if you're like a wrestling historian, this is like a gold mine. So I would have thought at least guys in my age bracket who remember that old wrestling that we would have been, eating it up. But I guess there wasn't as much. It wasn't appealing to the younger people, I think. But I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a treasure trove of stuff that I never even saw that I can kind of go back into the 1983 and look at, this or whatever and be into it again. So I thought it was going to be a hit. I really did.
So Paul, I really think personally, like Mark said, it was just one thing. You're gonna watch so much wrestling in so many hours. Like I got it for the interviews. I love the interviews personally. Like to me, like Dark Side of the Ring, I watch that all day long, any day. But I can only watch so much in one time. So for a price tag, it's not expensive, but I can spend $10 on something else and add a few extra dollars and get on the streaming platform. That's why Peacock, when they teamed up, I think that was a very smart move on both ends.
But didn't the 10 also include the pay-per-views?
Yeah,
it
initially?
Did. It did.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't even sell that. I mean, you would pay. I mean, pay-per-views got expensive. I mean, $50 back 20 years ago, we thought it was a big deal. But
I think I have a little shoe on that. Like Netflix, I don't mind paying $7-8 a month for it. Or now I think it's up to 15 because there's always constant new movies, new shows, new things to watch.
Right.
It's never one thing you're tied down to. Wrestling, I like watching it to see certain people, certain things. Like I'm unlike you. Like I'm not going to go back and watch a match from
Right,
40
right.
years ago. You
Right,
know, like
right.
I have those little things. Like I'll go watch some Attitude Era stuff. Like I'm born in '82, so like
Right.
from like late '90s to early mid 2000s. Like yeah, that was my thing. I was watching.
Yeah.
I loved it. And then you kind of grow in and out of certain things.
Right.
At least like on a Netflix or a Hulu, like you can kind of like grow into new shows or new themes or new outlets, where having one streaming service of just one constant thing all the time just
Right.
for me it did lose its appeal. The sad thing was for $6.99 we could watch a pay-per-view event every month instead of paying
Yeah.
$60, which made sense, but they didn't promote it that way, which I think was the killer.
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to avoid that because a lot of wrestlers were making a commission off the pay-per-views. But ever since they've gone to Peacock, they're not getting commissions anymore. So higher tier you were, let's say you were a main event, more money you got. You know, you.
How's this? Think of it this way. Imagine they switch their promotion. Instead of saying $6.99 a month, which was like $80 a year, say for $150 a year, we'll give you every pay-per-view wrestling event. How many more people would have bought that and said, yo, I could just tune into every WrestleMania, every SummerSlam, and they would have made more money, and they wouldn't have had to have all the other filler shit in between.
Yeah.
I don't think they knew what they had in their hands, and where Vince was running the company at the time, I don't think he understood the power of streaming because it was so new at the time. And when
it was too many hands in the pot, I think. He was just trying to get too many different flavors into one gumbo, and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Like he was making so much money through the company at that point. He's like, oh, we got to jump into this, but he jumped in before he realized how to jump into it.
Yeah.
And that's what was the ultimate
with,
killer.
what's called with the bodybuilding competition company he made.
The WBF.
Then he did the football team twice, and both times failed to the Rock Boat company. So let me take this off your hands because I know what the hell I'm doing actually. So he used to throw money like it's going out of style. Hey, when you have all his money he doesn't mind losing a couple million. He can make it up in a couple weeks.
Yeah, you got to spend money to make money. That's his attitude.
Right,
but
right.
He was getting into things he didn't understand. That's the problem. He didn't have the right people behind him to actually run it the right way. He's like a Jerry Jones in NFL. He wants to control everything, but doesn't know everything, even though he wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
And that, exactly because
it's the old school ownership mentality. I can run everything because I know best. And sometimes
just because you're successful in one thing doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful in another.
Correct.
You know? I mean, that's why guys think, oh, I built a successful business, so I can go and do other, sometimes it's just, stay in your lane kind of deal. But, that mentality is certainly out there. I mean, but again, these guys wouldn't be that hubris or that ego kind of got them to where they are, but, but it can only take you so far sometimes.
And business does evolve, which sometimes it's hard to realize that once you've been successful for so long.
That's true. Yep.
So, but gentlemen, I've got to get going.
All right, brother.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
I appreciate talking with you, and thank you for having me on.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and definitely look forward to sharing the platform with you again.
From now on Saturdays, and if you want to jump in, go ahead, jump in anytime you want.
Absolutely. Thank you guys very much, and have a great night. All right.
You do the same.
Bless.
You do the same. Bless you too. Yep. All right. So yeah, I was actually gonna ask you, because you follow wrestling a long time. What were your favorite like outside the big ones? Whether it be an indie promotion or whatever, were there any that you follow? Like I said, I talked about ECW, which certainly was like a rebel promotion, for all intents and purposes. But I got to say, probably my favorite one was probably Ring of Honor. Before they got bought out by AEW or whatever, but Ring of Honor was definitely, the type of wrestling that they showed in that promotion was, it had a lot of Japanese influence to it, and it was definitely something that I enjoyed very much. And I know a lot of CM Punk. I think Daniel Bryan came up through there. So they definitely had some good matches. Michael Elgin was, a lot of those guys really had some very entertaining matches. But was there like a sort of a small indie type promotion that you kind of that you followed at any particular point in time?
No, because I always watched most of the bigger ones. I was never into the smaller ones.
Hmm.
Because I was never really, I didn't have access to it like I did with WWE, ECW, WCW. The one I follow a little and I just couldn't get too into it was New Japan.
Hmm.
But New Japan is huge. It's very hard to keep up with it because you have so many faces, so many this, so many that. It's hard to keep up with it sometimes. So that's the only one I would say is kind of rogue for me, but it's not a very small company.
Right.
Again, if you look at the New Japan's roster, it's like almost like 8 pages long. That's how big
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah, and I know in recent years, I know they were doing. I forget what network it was on, but I know it was on a station they were having. And Jim Ross was actually doing over, like play by play. Like he wasn't obviously in Japan, of course, but he was doing the overlays on the product for a minute there.
Yeah.
I think it was New Japan.
Are the small promotions good? Yes, they are. Now you have a
Oh,
contact
it's some of
along-
the best. Like I said, Ring of Honor. That was some of the best in terms of like wrestling. You know what I mean? Like forget the, if you're not into, because there's still some old school guys who are like, I know especially like Jim Cornette. He's real big on wrestling and not sports entertainment. So in terms of like his purest form, as far as just guys getting in there and entertaining and doing the acrobatics or the martial arts stuff or whatever, like just combat, and the way they did it. I mean, like Ring of Honor, like you go and you had to shake hands, or at least it was asked that you shake hands before you start. That's part of the whole Ring of Honor thing. It was like this is going to be an athletic contest rather than personalities and things of that nature. So I think there was a lot of and again, a lot of those guys went on to other major promotions, but I enjoyed the product very much.
I think it's a great product. I was trying to say before. Now, the smoke companies have a comeback. There's a lot of smoke companies out there again, and they have a big comeback. I know Al Snow owns one actually. I don't remember what it is, but they're growing overseas actually. That's actually a big hit over the small companies because the goal is like in England. England's huge. I think England or UK. UK I think is a big thing about wrestling. It's huge over there. So that's where Purge, what her name was, I can't remember her name was, who came from originally. He did a whole movie about her life, and it's huge over there. Now the small
Paige,
yeah, there's small companies that are over there, and some of them are actually big fucking names that went like, oh shit, what's his name? I just had him a minute ago here, trying to find his name. Joe something his name is, and he's huge over there, overseas, and now he's getting pretty big here too. But people don't realize how big he is. I'm trying to find his name. Give me one quick second, because I know I have it here somewhere. Joe Hendry. And his theme song is, I believe in Joe Hendry. And his theme song, that's what he wanted to. He wanted a good theme song. His first couple one really sucked, and he's a musician, so he made his own theme song, like Dina did. But I want to bring him up because he came from small promotions, and he built his name. Shit, what's his name? The freaking Scottish guy. I can't remember his name. Fuck, help me out, Paul. You know what I'm talking about?
Scottish.
Yeah, he wrestles now in WWE.
He does the high flying stuff, right?
Yeah, he has a sword he comes out with. Hang on, give me one.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah.
Where is it?
Yeah, I forget. I know what you're talking about, but I forget his name off the top.
Yeah, Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
He came from overseas again, but he started with very small promotions. Backyard wrestling, in a way, but not really. But more gymnasium wrestling is what you used to grow up with. So people always he gave a lot of shit for him when he fucked his first run at WWE bad.
Right.
Like it wasn't, I don't think, as much as him, but they didn't have a good character. They had no character. There was no personality. So he had a clean look, no long hair. Then he grew his hair out, but clean shave. It didn't really match what he was trying to do. So they dropped him. He again back to the Indies. He worked himself out. They gave him a second chance in NXT. He came back. By this time, he grew a beard out. He got bigger. He got stronger. And then next minute, you know, he's literally one of the top guys in WWE now. Like you, as an indie guy, a lot of people don't forget. Before NXT, before Tough Enough, indie was the way to get in. And if you got in. Question if, because how hard was it to get in back then? It wasn't like, okay, I do a year in indies, then great. No, it doesn't work like that. Like Moxley, when he was fed up with WWE, he goes, you know what? I'm going back in the indies. I'll make my own schedule. I'll make my own shit. I'll make some, you know, some indie guys can ask for a lot of money, like as much as WWE. Some of these guys, if you have a big name, like freaking Moxley, for example. But you know, AEW came around at the same time, so he was good.
Right.
But my point trying to get to is, don't underestimate the indie guys. They're actually putting a lot of work in, more than these big WWE guys, because they don't have doctors. People forget there's no medical insurance if you get hurt. There is no, you know, MFLA, no PTO time. You're hurt, that's it. You don't get a paycheck, my man. You know, I hope you have a good savings account.
Right.
If you go watch, do you remember a wrestler named Maven?
Yeah.
Okay, he has
I
a
watch
whole
his
YouTube
channel. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to. He explains it to the details. He breaks
Exactly.
it down.
Yeah, it's a nice channel. Yeah.
I wonder if I can get him on a channel.
Well, I don't know if I could. He has that southern accent. I don't know if I'd ever come on your channel, sir.
He drops
But
in a lot of places because he does a lot of indie stuff. He wants to promote his channel. That's what he wants. So
Right.
he actually has a thing now. Goes, if you go to him and want his autograph and prove to him on your phone you're prescribed to him, he'll give you a free autograph and picture on the spot.
right,
If
right.
you don't, he charges
That is actually on my bucket list. I have never been. Have you ever been to an indie show?
No. I haven't.
That is actually a bucket list item of mine. I know New Jersey had one. New Jersey had an independent. I think it was the NJPW or something like that. Not sure if they're back in existence, but I would love to get to find a local indie wrestling promotion just to get the sense and experience of it. That's on my bucket list. I mean, I've seen the biggest shows. I haven't been to WrestleMania or a SummerSlam, but certainly that kind of, you know, weird guys. And I've seen a lot of wrestling documentaries on these guys working their way up through the indies, looking to build their, you know, out there is hoping to get the call from the WWF or one of the major promotions or whatever. It's kind of a sad, but it's an interesting life for a lot of those guys who have to sort of pay their dues and on the come up. But I would like to get to a local show in the New Jersey, New York, PA area, and just check out the environment. The thing that would break me though would be, because some of those indie guys, you got the young guys on the come up, but you also got the guys who used to be stars and they're no longer stars anymore. That may break me though. Like Marty Jannetty fights on those, you know, wrestles in those promotions.
Yeah, Dork the Clown did it for a while too.
Yeah, that would hurt.
So,
you know what I mean? Because
my
he
thing
can't. You know, a lot of these guys wrestle on way too long. I mean, even now you got NWA Power, and you know, that's mostly like a YouTube type of you know, sort of a recreation of the old NWA. And they have what's that? The Rock and Roll Express were on there. These guys in their 70s still wrestling. You know.
I have an extra interesting story you're gonna like. So before I do that story, in Jersey, I can't remember what's in the one that brings old wrestlers. They give autographs and stuff like that. They don't usually wrestle. They give autographs out. They help promote the show. But there's an indie. I'll find the name and give it to you. But it's in your area. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Second, last year at Comic-Con, I made this public announcement when I did my videos back when I was doing those Motivation Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
So when I made that last year was the legends were Teddy DiBiase, Mr. Million Dollar
Million
Man.
Dollar Man. Yep.
Then was Lex Luthor, and then was Jake the Snake.
Mm-hmm.
So I walked, I got the autographs, I shook their hand, I think he said thank you. I was joking with them and everything, so I left, I did my thing. As I was swinging back, I see them leaving, they were done for the day, and I see literally Million Dollar Man hugging his bag that they made money, hugging. He was so scared they were gonna steal it, and look, it makes you feel so sad.
Yeah.
Because they fell from grace. think about where they used to be. Like they had this beautiful house.
Oh, yeah.
all this stuff.
Well, did you see that movie, The Wrestler?
Yes.
Mickey Rourke. Did you see
Yes,
that?
he died from overdose, and heart attack.
Mm.
And he was, again, he fell from grace. He was living in
Yeah.
a trailer park playing
Yeah.
Nintendo with a neighbor kid. And, Nintendo wasn't even a thing anymore at that point.
Right. But I know, but one of the scenes in the movie, like he would go to these indie wrestling shows or whatnot, and they had some action figures, something like guys looking to basically sell off merch. It wasn't like they even had new merchandise necessarily to sell, but it was like they were just trying to make money. They were hawking some of their old merch and stuff that was there, but I mean, it wasn't like, a lot of those folks, it wasn't like they were just running to come up to them and stuff. So yeah, it's that depressing side of it. I mean, certainly, for the guys who've paid their dues there.
When I went up to the first table, because there was like a big row table, $1 million man, he was literally sitting there just. I went up to him. Excuse me, can I get an autograph, please? He goes, yeah. He started signing it. He shook my hand, and he was very excited. That one further down, after I got those three guys, I even talked to Jake the Snake, and he got really excited too. I go, I was joking around, like, you should scare the shit out of me because I hate fucking snakes. He goes, yeah, so did I. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I hate snakes? He goes, but you're Jake the Snake.
He used to say, yeah, that was the thing. I mean, he was a professional because he hated carrying Damien around like that.
For this shit. If you're not paying me $1 million per snake, fuck you then. But further down, then I met Buff Dude. Buff Dude, man, the excitement he got when I asked for an autograph, he literally jumped out of his chair. He goes, yeah. He came around the table. He put his arm around me. He goes, where am I signing to? He signed his autograph. He goes, here, can we go? Can you take a picture? He was like, he put me on his life. I'm like, the fuck? At one point, he's holding me like, I can't fucking breathe. Oh, my bad. He goes, if your autograph gets fucked up, come back and see me. I'll give you a new one. Don't worry about the money. And I'm like, thank you so much. And I'm like, what? You need to should have decaf, my man.
Yeah.
But the excitement he got just for an autograph, dude.
It's a high, when you were, everybody knew your name, you were on top, and now you're not there.
Well, I want to touch one base to everybody who's watching this. I want to clear something out of the table right now because I hate when I hear this. People say, man, this should be charging for an autograph. That's bullshit, all this stuff, right? You guys are fucking wrong because if they have to pay for the travel expenses, whatever to do, if they're in either still wrestling, non-wrestling, whatever, or a hotel, food, car is on them. WWE doesn't pay for shit. Now, you have these companies like Legend Wrestling that brings promotioners to Comic-Cons, to WizardCon, all these cons, right? So you will have to pay the table. They pay the table out of the money. If you go to a Comic-Con, they're in the millions, some of them, or even 1,000. Depends how big your table is. The booth you are. So that's one. Now, who's going to pay for the prints your pictures on? That's a couple of hundred there. Because I think they're stacked. Like, I think I stack, I'm not sure the prices. So, $40 for an autograph and a picture is actually very reasonable, to believe it or not. So they have to make a living. They are retired. So they making a few bucks off you guys to meet you. At least you can do because they put their life, literally their life in danger. Or like, what was his name who died? Hart something. You know what I'm talking about? With Bret Hart's brother. You know what I'm talking about?
Owen.
Owen Hart. A good example. He died, coming to the ring. You have Eddie Guerrero who had a heart attack in the middle of the ring. So for them to ask for an autograph and you say, how dare you? No, how dare you to fucking say that? If you shame yourself saying that. Like, for $40, at least you can give them $40. It's not a lot. That's my opinion again. Do you got anything on that, Paul, or no?
Well, again, I guess just based on the story that you said, unless they have a line around the corner, like this, there's certain guys who are so hot that again, they literally you're there for hours trying to get an autograph. But again, the guys who are no longer popping, they're at their table, no one's really coming by, so they're happy when anyone comes by to see you. I don't know if pay. I think you should pay them for something. I mean, whether it be $40 or whatever you want to put in. Maybe you only got 20, but I would say definitely pay them something. But I think there is a scale, depending on your popularity.
Okay, so at Comic-Con, you always have this one big actor that promotes that day. So I go Saturdays. So last Saturday was Chris Evans' day. So Chris Evans was literally, you have to pre-order your autograph ahead of time and your picture. So for it was like close to like $400 to $500 for him.
Yeah.
That is outrageous. First of all, and like 1 year was, the guy from Back in the Future, who played McFly. Help me out here, Mark.
McFly. Michael Keaton.
Fox.
Yeah,
Yep.
Michael Keaton. Yeah.
So he was in the 500 range. Again, I think that's ridiculous. At this point, he's pretty much retired. So I think it's way too much. But I get it. He's a icon.
Right, but again,
The
the
one-
market again, it's what you're able to command. The guys who have again,
going there.
you'll wait in line for hours,
Yeah.
line
So
around the
one
block to meet a certain individual. I mean,
I did not meet and I regretted it. It was Stanley. He was asking $80 autograph a picture.
that's pretty
That's
good.
reasonable. The guy who plays Luke Skywalker before the Star Wars movie came out, he was asking for 120. Okay, it was reasonable, but I didn't have that money at the time, so I didn't bother. So I understand that. But again, some of them do go overboard. But these wrestlers, I have never seen any wrestler go over $40. The only one I paid a little more than 40 was a group picture with Christian, DDP, and Lita, all of them all together. So I got individual autographs, and I got a big group. I got something like so. Yeah, the one I paid a little extra. Also, I got a custom poster with what his name? Who played the GI Joe guy? Help me out here, Paul. My brain is freezing right now.
GI Joe. What from the movie Sergeant Slaughter?
Slaughter here. This is
Yeah,
the custom
Sergeant
one I'm
Slaughter,
talking
yeah.
about. This is custom. There are only 100 of these made. So if they're literally somewhere here. This is number 4, right down here. You can see it right here.
Wow.
See? So he actually customized it completely. He says, Hogan who, Jacoba sucks. He went out his way. Then he put me on the claw and everything. He was actually really cool to me.
Yeah.
So I paid a little, I didn't have to pay the extra money to get that autograph. I could have got $40, a picture, and everything. It'll be fine. They said you don't have to. If you
Right.
want something a little more, unique, extra $40 on top of that, it won't be bad. I go,
Right.
okay. I thought about it. I go, you know what? It's a lifetime opportunity. I looked at him. Do you take credit? He goes, yeah. Why? There you go, American Express.
Yeah.
He goes,
Well, now and everybody's got Venmo and PayPal and all the all those
believe it
other
or not,
payments.
when these events first started, the whole Comic-Con thing, when I first started about eight years ago, maybe more now, there's very few people who took cash. I mean, credit cards. One
Right.
of the very big names.
Right.
Took them, and because of the fee. Now, everyone is taking credit cards there. But you might save a few dollars doing cash. They say that.
Well, yeah, because you don't pay that 3%.
Yeah, that's what it is. They pay, we don't. So
Right.
they might, so like I go up to him like, it's $40. Like, can you? If I do cash, can you 30? He goes, yeah, I can do 30. It's fine. There you go. Or like the guy
Yeah.
I met, one of the Power Rangers. He had a big set. He go autograph. He got me. I'll give you an autograph, five different autographs, a picture, a shout out, and everything for $40. You go, 50. He said. I go, I have cash, dude. You want to do 40? He goes, absolutely. He goes, he didn't argue with me. Like, I do 40. It's not a problem. I'm not going to argue with for $10. So you get a little negotiate with some of the agents there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it depends. And like, Paul, seriously, you have never gone to Comic-Con. I think it's too late to get one now. But next year, I'll let you know. I'll get us for us.
Okay.
And,
Yeah.
just,
Yeah. I would certainly like to. I would certainly like to. I would certainly like to
Cash App
partake.
or Venmo me the money, and I'll transfer your name because after
Yeah,
I
that's
bought-
fine.
transfer them. They're like $75, bro. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for
it's
sure.
actually-
75 to get in, and then you pay based on who you meet or whatever, and
Pretty much, yep.
so in a day, then how much on average would you spend? $1,000 if you add up all of the autographs that you get and the $4,000.
Yep. But also, you have to consider this: autographs. I bought stuff, lightsabers, little collectibles. It's not autographs alone. If I only did autographs, 1,000, maybe 100, maybe 1,500, 200, 2,000 tops. I have never gone over 2,000 ever. But 4,000 was with food, parking. You have to consider that. Don't forget that part.
You driving? You don't just take the.
No, I drive. I usually park literally right next to the Lincoln Bridge, and I'm straight up here. It's like,
Right.
If you do it ahead of time like I do, it's like 150 only for the whole day. That's nothing.
For the whole
If you
day,
think
yeah.
about it. In Manhattan.
Mhm.
Then on top of that, you get I get autographs, food, parking. Then you're gonna get collectibles. You're gonna spend money. There's no way around it. And like the collectibles, you can tell which ones are collectibles because they're stamped by Comic Con with a special stamp. It says this is New York Comic Con year 2024, 2025, whatever year. You know what I'm saying? And you know that there are only so many. They're numbered. Like that poster is numbered.
Right.
Like, I don't have it now on, but I got a shirt from the Uso's father, Suzuki. And the agent goes, listen, this is only numbered. They're numbered, stamped, and everything. He goes, listen, I only have 100 of these shirts made. He give you an autograph, give you a picture for an extra $20, bro. It's not a bad price. He goes, I had cash. I go, what can you do for cash? I go to him. He goes, I'm gonna knock $10 off. He goes, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, so you can negotiate a little bit, like I said, but not much.
Right.
But because they're saving the fee of the credit cards, and then they don't have to show how much cash they make actually. But again, if these guys they're retired, they're done, bro. So cut them a little bit of slack. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So
Do you own a belt?
no, that's on my list.
Okay.
The one I want to get is the most expensive one. I want the big yellow, the heavyweight original WCW, Goldberg one. That's the one I want. Because that to me is like this one now. I don't like it. I don't like how it looks at all. Because they have this is old school cut in the middle with WWE. Like again, come on. Can we? Okay, we know it's WWE's belt, so you don't have to go crazy with logos everywhere or WWE everywhere with it. Like, can we come back? I'm not a fan of these belts anymore, bro. I like the old school belts.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Nah, I mean certainly the big gold is certainly
Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was going to invest in one, I could certainly see myself going in that direction. But yeah, man. Listen, we may want to have now. I'll ask you this, but if you want to have a gray area show on this, if you want to have a show on wrestling, because I wanted to ask you about what about in Greece? Is professional wrestling a thing in Greece? I remember back in the day, you had this guy from Greece. His name was Spiros Arion. Again, old school from the 70s when I first started watching wrestling, the late 70s into the early 80s. He was a major guy from Greece. I don't know. I think he said that he might have been like an amateur wrestler on there, one of the Olympic teams or something like that. But, I haven't heard much about Greece as far as a popular destination for. Did they ever have a major indie wrestling promotion, or are there any current Greek wrestlers in?
I'll give you the short version. Yes, wrestling is a thing in Greece right now. WWE kind of wrestling. I hate using the say professional because you may offend somebody very easily because professional could be amateur for somebody else. So yes, to your second question, yes, we can do this episode. Probably in 3 weeks, I'm thinking.
Okay. That's
Saturday is supposed to be the Olympics we're talking about.
Yes.
After CQ's coming on for his interview, because I had to remind him because I go, like you forgot, didn't you? I went last night. I go, yeah, my bad, dude. And like, nah, don't worry about it. I went to him. Like I know, I know people forget. They're not obviously our show's not the most important thing on there, even I want to be, but. So we got him. So in 3 weeks, we can definitely do that. But I want to answer this question from why can you get custom messages from these guys? Yes, you can actually. So if you go back into my lives, actually, I have 2 Rangers that did a custom shout out for me. And they only asked me like $5 for it. I'm like, shit, it's worth it. It was a package, pretty much. I got like a bunch of things autographed. I think I have it one up here. It is actually. Part of the package was one of the yellow Time Force Red Ranger gave me this badge. Actually, it's a Time Force badge. Time Force is supposed to be Time Force Police, pretty much. And they gave me this right here. How cool that looks, bro. Come on, tell me now.
Yeah, looks nice.
It's full metal. And make it better, he signed it in the back. I don't know if you can.
Yep.
I don't know if you can see it with the glare of that. So. For $50, man, come on! I got 5 things autographed. I got a shout out, a couple of pictures. it's worth it, man. Like people say, oh, it's a lot of money. And it really is not. Think about how much he spent to make these, bro. Just think about it for a minute. And he gave me a little sticker too, just for kicks and giggles. He goes, "Here, have a little sticker." He goes like, he was joking around. He gave me one in the back. His wife came up to him and go, "Here, you're a good boy. You're good today." I'm like, "The fuck, man? Seriously, I'm getting fucking shit here." So, all right, let's close this out. You want to final thoughts, or you want to just skip that part?
No, I mean, again, as far as the topic, again, music themes. Like I said, I grew up in the era when you didn't have those, but certainly they added some juice to the walkouts, and again, just tying it in with the merch and everything else. I mean, I think it was certainly a great addition, and it's interesting how they had to come up with new, because back in the day, again, they were playing like commercial music, but then the licensing fees and whatnot, with you had to pay the artist. I mean, for you're playing their song on TV or whatever, they want royalties and stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons why. Said there was a website called Camera to get custom messages. Okay.
Yes, it is a website like that. Some of them they have their own personal website. Like Buff Dude has his own personal website, for example, and you can go there and click. It's like, I'm not sure what he charges anymore for that, to be honest. But there are a lot of people who do custom messages online, and so help your YouTube channel, or just for your kids, for example, like, "Hey, happy birthday, little dude."
Yeah, some guys are doing that. Yeah, they'll do it in character. So imagine get a call from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They do that shit.
Saying, I mean, his probably some of the pricier ones, I'm sure. But yeah,
the White Ranger used to do one for $45, I believe it was. $45. A call by, it was a good 20 to 35 minutes call. So wishing you a happy birthday or congratulations or whatever it was. Before you pass away.
I think the funniest one I could ever hope to get is, and again, rest in peace, is the Iron Sheik. If you ever got, "Hey, jabroni, I understand it's your birthday, you jabroni, happy birthday," or something like that. So,
so
that would have been,
because a lot of people think the rock star jabroni.
He didn't. It was Iron Sheik. Yeah, that's right.
And he gives him credit all the time. He says, "My uncle Iron Sheik." He gives him. That's how much he respects.
That's right. Yeah. So it was ahead of his time. But yeah, I mean, certainly the artistry that went into creating theme music, because again, back then they were playing real songs, but again, they had to start paying royalties to the performers. So then they had to come up with their own in-house titles that are certainly, again, associated with these wrestlers. So it's definitely, it added a dimension to it, especially, like I said, in the mid '80s with the music, with the fusion with the wrestling was doing with the rock industry and the videos and things of that nature. So yeah, it was cool. It's great. Oh, she did one for her brother, so that was nice.
I give you credit.
That was definitely nice. Very nice. Yeah. So, but I'm good.
Definitely gonna do this again. I love doing the wrestling stuff like this. It's a fun time. I think Mark had a great time, to be honest with you, dude.
That was nice to meet him. Yeah.
So a little fun story about Mark and me. So me and Mark almost became related like this, and the reason I say that, Alex was going after his dog, so Blue. So he had a husky, and she and him, you get the idea, and that's why we used to go around, we might be related because this is Alex's girlfriend, and you get the joke now, right?
Right.
So a little quick schedule update, guys. So you guys are on the same page. Tomorrow we're talking about the Olympics on the gray area, streaming on the BMU network, and we're always here. We're always gonna co-stream it because we're that damn good. Come on, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
On Thursday we are speaking about the beginning of a good journey. I'm going to leave it up to anybody's suggestion what it's going to be about.
Right.
And next week, this one I've been excited for a while because for two reasons. One, is one of the movies that I grew up with. I think it was one of the best karate movies ever made, personally. Cobra Kai. We're talking about the movie and the show, of course. I'm all caught up. You better be caught up, mister. I don't care.
Honestly, I watched, I think, 2 or 3 seasons. I haven't got the last couple, so I'm busy, dude. So I'll try to catch up. By that time, but I think I got through season 3. So I think I got 2 more seasons to get to. I think it's up to season 5 now, right? Okay, so like I said, I'm behind. What do you want?
All right, try to catch up as best you can.
Okay.
So I am very excited, and we have a special guest next week. I'm going to announce him now. I'm going to howl him to don't forget. BMU himself is coming on for that one. He said he's coming. I have the proof in my messages. If he says no, I'm gonna blow his spot right up. You know I will too, my man. You
Right.
know it.
Right.
This was something he's been really excited about because he's been talking about it. He's been watching with his kids and stuff. Again, a lot of credit to him. He's a great father for doing that, and a great man. So that's where we're at. I'm going to even go further out. So on the 15th, I'm sorry, the 11th, CQ himself is going to be on the gray area. We're going to be interviewing him, questions. He's going to be talking about his service time, being a father after his injuries, 13 timing when he got shot 13 times. He's literally my brother. He's not my best friend. He's my brother. That's how well I know him. I know him for so many years. I'm very, 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 very excited if you cannot tell. I'm sorry. So on the 15th, we are talking about, I never asked you to stop being a woman. Please don't ask me to stop being a man. That's a good. Don't tell me that's not a good title, bro.
That is an interesting one. Okay.
Yeah, I got it from Rocky actually.
Yeah, Rocky too. I've quoted
that
it
made me collect
well.
because think about it. Just think about what I'm saying. I'm not going to say more than that. And on the 17th, we are talking about John Wick versus the Equalizer, Class of the Villains. So I am looking forward, and that's going to be on the 18th. We're going to be actually talking about the wrestling stuff in Greece. Yeah, that's how we're going to do it. So, any exceptions, or are you good with that?
No, I'm good.
All right. So, ours, like as always, he was.
Hang on, actually, just so that I'm clear, because I am the 23rd.
I'm not out that far yet.
Okay, cool. Because I know my wife and I were taking some R&R. So that weekend I may be, that Friday, Saturday I might be out. The 23rd is the Friday, so the 23rd and 24th. I should be back the 25th. Yeah, I'll definitely be in for the gray area in the 25th, whatever that title is going to be. But I just wanted to give you a heads up.
All right, not big deal. The 24th I have to worry about. Okay, no big deal. Who said you can have a day off?
I do.
You don't put your PTO time in with me. I didn't sign off on this.
I do.
Yeah, he goes, I did. He's not gonna look. I'm not even gonna look you in the eyes for that one. All right. So as always, he is Mr. President. I am Grooming Reviews 101, aka Ghost of Spar. As always, stay fresh, stay safe, and I see you guys on the next one.
Take care. Good night.